Chapter 1: The Diaper Hero. Looking in the mirror, our hero Captain Zero looks himself over to make sure his outfit is perfect. His black tights were free of dirt and tight enough to show his bulging diaper underneath, which was just how our superhero liked it. His black cotton shirt with the Pampers logo across the front in bright purple. On a black rope around his neck, his purple pacifier dangled on the front of his shirt. His purple cape hung around his back, but it was cut short enough so those behind him could also see his well-padded backside. Captain Zero was sure that he was the only 15-year-old, diaper-wearing, thumb-sucking, crib-sleeping superhero. Yes, he was different, and he knew it. But he was no less important than any other superhero, and he had a job to do. Our hero was satisfied with his look, and throwing his cape back he darted out the window and into the streets looking for those in need of his special superpowers. Chapter 2: A Thief in Disbelief. "Help, someone please help me," came the call from the street. Our hero flew lower to get a close look at what was going on. A mugger wearing a black mask had a gun to the back of an older woman outside of an ATM machine. Captain Zero was not at all happy. This kind-looking older woman reminded him of his nanny, and to see someone try to hurt her was more than he could stand. He flew down and landed on the street in front of the man. "Stop in the name of all that is good and diapered," laughing the man replied. "What kind of sissy hero are you?" "I am Captain Zero, defender of all who are good, and punisher of those who are naughty," replied our hero. "And just what are you going to do if I don't let this lady go?" asked the thief, who grabbed the lady's arm tight as she let out a little gasp at the tightness of his grip. "If you do not let this nice lady go before I get really mad, I will be forced to turn you into a helpless infant so that you may be brought up all over again, and correct your bad behavior." "Oh yeah, I believe you, and I should run away," the man said, mocking our hero. "But instead I think I will just have to kill her." Before he could carry out his threat, our hero stared into the eyes of the thief and he was instantly frozen. He wet his pants and dropped to the ground, letting go of his grip on the lady and dropping his gun. In minutes he had shrunk to the size of a 3-year-old, and he started to cry. Captain Zero grabbed the gun, removed the bullets and threw the gun in a dumpster. "Thank you, Captain Zero. How can I repay you?" the grateful lady asked. "I would like you to take this naughty boy into your home, and bring him up right, and I think he will need some training pants. He seems to have trouble holding his pee. And be sure he gets spanked for his naughty behavior today." "I will, Captain Zero, but I have to ask, you said you would make him a baby, but he looks like he's 3 years old." "He is. I want him to grow up again soon, and save you the trouble of dirty diapers. But you will have to change wet diapers. He will wet himself until he is, let's say, 8, and he will wet his bed at night for the rest of his life, to remind him to be a good boy this time." With that, our hero flew up into the air and flew away, happy to have rid the world of one more bad man, and creating one more lifetime diaper user. Back on the ground, the nice lady led her new little boy home by his ear as he cried out in pain, the shame of his wet pants, and the fear of the spanking he would get when they got home. Chapter 3: Our hero at home. Captain Zero flew into his bedroom window and abruptly started to remove his costume. It was 4:30 and his mommy would soon be home. He changed into his PJs and climbed back into his crib and went to sleep. Crime fighting would have to wait until tomorrow, when our hero's mommy went back to work. Right at 5:30, Captain Zero's mommy returned home, and went straight to her son's room to check on him. "Hi Mikey, did you get some rest today?" she asked as she felt his forehead. "My, you're hot. Did you stay in bed like you were supposed to? You know what Dr. Carter said." Mikey, which is the name given to our hero at birth, knew what his doctor had told him, but he also knew the truth. He had been told to stay in bed because he kept getting sick, and had been put in a crib when he had not followed his doctor's orders. Mike knew he would get sick. He always was sick for 24 hours after using his secret powers, but it was a price he was willing to pay. He liked his crib, and his diapers, and especially his mommy's attention, and as long as he kept getting sick, he knew it would continue. So he loves to fight crime, but fighting crime makes him get sick and have to sleep in a crib, but he loves his crib. It was the perfect setup for our hero, and he knew it. Actually, he would have to wear diapers no matter what. He had always wet himself at night, and whenever he got upset, but he liked the feeling of his diapers, and without them he would not be strong enough to fight the naughty people of the world. Mike went back to sleep, and dreamt of the adventure he had that day, and looking forward to whatever would happen tomorrow. Chapter 4: The Bully in Baby's Clothing. Okay honey, I have to go to work now. You be good and stay in bed. I will mommy, Mike said as he pretended to roll over and go back to sleep. He heard the front door close and then the car pulling out of the drive. Our hero sprang from his crib and climbed over the bars and jumped to the floor. He got his costume out of his hiding spot, and quickly changed into it. He had a job to do, and he wanted to get an early start today. He had to be home in time to watch his favorite cartoons. Yes, even our superhero loves those animaniacs. Captain Zero flew out the window, and patrolled the streets of town looking for someone in need. Ow, stop it. Quit it, ouch. The sound was coming from McIntyre Elementary School. That could only mean a kid in trouble. Our hero had to help. Captain Zero flew with great speed to the playground where an ugly scene was unfolding. A huge fifth grader was sitting on the chest of a much smaller boy, looks like a second or third grader. The older boy was sitting on his chest, and smacking him over and over in the face. The younger boy, named Tommy according to my sources, was laying there unable to fight back against the bully that had him pinned. He was crying and screaming, but the other kids were all too afraid of the bully, whose name is Paul, and no attempt was made to stop Paul. I could not allow this injustice to continue any longer. As I pushed my way through the crowd, I could hear the children laughing and making jokes at my costume. With only one hand, I picked Paul up and held him 6 inches off the ground, his feet dangling as he tried desperately to reach the ground. Put me down, you purple pansy pampers wearing geek. Now our hero did not want to cause too much of a scene, but he refused to be made fun of, as he rather liked his costume, and he loved his pampers. He had to deal with this young man rather quickly, and he decided to make him cry like he had done to Tommy. Using his mental powers, Captain Zero scanned Paul's mind for his deepest diaper secret. Everyone had a diaper secret, either an embarrassing moment from childhood, a hidden desire, or a deep dark secret. Much to Captain Zero's delight, it was number 3, the deep dark secret that Paul did not want anyone to know. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you right. In what derogatory manner did you refer to me? Our hero asked with a wicked smile on his face. I didn't call you anything. Put me down, you pants-wetting, thumb-sucking, tights-wearing faggot. I'll have you know that I don't wet my pants. I have diapers to prevent that, and I will also have you and everyone else know that you Paul suck your thumb at night, and late at night, when you're asleep, sucking your thumb. You wet your bed, every single night. I do not, you're lying, Paul shouted over the giggles and laughter of the other children in the schoolyard. I can prove it, don't make me prove it, our hero said, allowing Paul one last chance to back out of the humiliation he was seconds away from suffering. You're full of shit, you sissy baby. That's it, you leave me no choice. Tommy pulled down Paul's pants. No, don't, I'm sorry, don't do it, Tommy. Please, Captain Zero, tell him not to do it. Paul said, starting to cry. I'm sorry, Paul, but it is too late now. Tommy, do it now. Tommy did as ordered, and then moments later he and the other kids were rolling on the ground laughing. Paul just dangled there from Captain Zero's hand. He was crying loudly now, as Captain Zero spoke again. That's right, boys and girls, Paul pees his bed every night, and as his punishment his mommy makes him wear plastic pants all day long, even to school. Paul was really upset now, and our hero decided he had had enough. Releasing his grip, Captain Zero dropped Paul, and he scrambled to his feet, pulling his pants up as fast as he could, as he ran inside the school. The children cheered as Captain Zero waved his arm over the crowd as he flew away, just as he cleared the top of the jungle gym. He shouted, be good, be happy and wear your nappies," and he was gone. Chapter 5 Trouble at Home. Back in his room, he changed out of his costume, and put his PJs back on and climbed into his crib. Our hero was Mikey again now, and he felt worn out and sick as usual, but he also felt good. He knew that Tommy would never again be hurt at school, and Paul would never tease anyone again. He drifted off to sleep, as he sucked on the bottle of juice his mommy had left for him. He liked to drink from his bottle, and his mommy insisted on it, since he had already spilled several drinks on his new crib mattress. Mike was awakened by a noise downstairs. He knew it was too early for him mommy to be home, and he was scared. As quietly as he could, he climbed out of his crib and sneaked into his closet to put his costume back on. Mikey was once again Captain Zero and was no longer scared. He quickly and quietly darted out of his room, and down the hall to the top of the stairs. He was a man wearing all black downstairs, loading his family's possessions into a large black bag. He tiptoed down the stairs, and just as he was going to pounce on the robber, he tripped over a box his mommy must have left on the bottom stair. He fell to the floor and his pacifier flew off his neck and slid across the floor. He had to get it back. Without his pacifier he had no powers. The robber, hearing Captain Zero fall to the floor, spun around and saw Mikey struggling to get to his feet. He was weak again without his pacifier and had trouble getting to his feet. The robber ran over and grabbed him. "You little brat, you were going to jump on me, weren't you?" Mikey knew he was in trouble, but all he had to do was get his pacifier back. "No answer, HUH, well I guess you need to be punished, and I have time to do it. I've watched the house. Your mommy will not be home until after 5 and it's not even 3 yet." The robber dragged Mike across the room and sat in a chair, pulling Mikey over his lap. Mike was now only inches away from his pacifier, but it was just out of his reach as he lay powerless across the lap of the burglar. Mikey started to panic as the robber pulled the back of his tights down, and then his diaper. He couldn't believe it. He was going to get his bare bottom spanked by a complete stranger for trying to protect his domicile, and his superpowers lay on the floor only inches away from his now shaky fingers. Smack, slap, spank, slap, slap. The first 5 slaps fell against Mikey's bare flesh, and Mikey cried out in pain. Slap, slap, slap. 3 more slaps and Mike was now howling in pain. His mother had spanked him many times, but never as severe as he was getting spanked now. The robber got nervous that someone might hear Mikey's screams and know that his mommy was not there. He looked around for something to shut the boy up, and he saw the pacifier laying on the ground. He picked it up and stuck it rudely into Mikey's mouth. Our superhero had his power back, but he decided to play along until the robber was sure he had control of the boy. Captain Zero lay there over the man's lap and took 10 more slaps, but with his power back did not even feel them. The robber was satisfied that boy would not fight back anymore, and pulled his diaper and tights back up. Then he released his grip on the boy, and let him up. He reached into his bag and took out some rope, but as he reached out to tie our hero's arms, Captain Zero spun around, grabbed the rope, and tied the robber instead. Captain Zero pushed the robber out of the house and tied him to a column supporting the porch in back of the house. When he was securely tied, Captain Zero ran back in the house and retrieved his mother's favorite bad boy paddle, and proceeded to give the robber the spanking of his life. Captain Zero never allowed anyone other than his mommy to discipline him, and he was not about to take it from an intruder in his home. After 33 slaps, the robber was begging for our hero to call the police. Captain Zero stopped the paddling, and it was then that he noticed that the robber had wet his pants from the pain he was in. "Fine, I will call the police, but you are to repeat nothing of this to them. You were tied up by a good Samaritan, not by a 15-year-old with superpowers, understand?" The robber nodded his understanding, as though he had not planned to tell anyone that he had been spanked by a little boy in diapers. He would be the laughingstock of all the inmates if anyone was to know how he had been caught. Mikey quickly changed and then called the police. He crawled back into his crib, and went to sleep. He had decided to pretend he had slept through everything, to protect his secret identity. When Mike's mommy got home, she told him about all that had happened, and he acted surprised. She proceeded to change his dirty diaper and suddenly gasped, "My gosh, your fanny's all red, you must be getting a terrible case of diaper rash, we will have to treat that right away." Mike was relieved he had forgotten about the obvious signs of his severe spanking, but his mother came up with his excuse for him, so he just relaxed as his mommy massaged Desitin cream into his backside, and he felt a strange stimulation as it soothed his sore bottom. Our hero was asleep before his mommy even got a new diaper on him, and he slept soundly that night. Chapter 6 House Guest. "Hey Mikey, wake up Mikey." Slowly our hero became more alert, having been woken up before he was ready to wake up. "Come on Mikey, wake up." Suddenly Mikey was wide awake. Who was that? It wasn't his mother's voice, it was the voice of a kid. Mikey wiped the sleep from his eyes until he was able to see. It's Mikey's cousin Dennis. Mikey was so happy he loved when Dennis came to visit, 'cause Dennis was always so much fun. But wait. This was the first time Dennis had come to visit since Mikey found out about his superpowers. Mikey was still glad that Dennis was there, but he knew it would mean no crime fighting until he went home. "How long are you staying?" Mikey asked so as to plan his crime-fighting efforts. "A whole week, so we can have lots of fun." Darn, Mikey thought, this was going to be tough. Mikey had to fight crime. If he stopped for a whole week, he would get better and that would ruin everything. If he wasn't sick, he would lose his crib, and his bottle, and be expected to use the bathroom whenever possible. This was going to take some work, but Mikey had to find a way to handle this. "Dennis, come downstairs, and let Mikey get some more rest. You two can play later," my mommy called from the kitchen. Dennis did as told and Mikey laid down to decide what to do. Chapter 7 The House Guest 2. "Dennis honey, could you please get all of Mikey's laundry out of his closet? I want to do the laundry this morning." "Sure mom," Dennis replied. Of course she isn't his mom, but he liked calling her that, and she didn't seem to mind, so he did. Dennis tiptoed into our hero room and gathered all the laundry from Mikey's closet. When he got to the bottom of the pile he found a black box. Peeking over his shoulder to check that Mikey was still asleep, he opened the top of the box, and was shocked to find an unusual costume inside. It was purple and black and said, "Pampers," on the front. Dennis pulled it out of the box to get a closer look at it, and just then Mikey woke up. "What are you doing?" Mikey asked in an obviously upset tone. Mom asked me to get your laundry," Dennis replied as he stuffed the costume back into the box and tried to act like he hadn't seen anything. "You saw it, didn't you?" Mikey asked a little more calmly. "What is it?" "It's my costume. I have these special powers, and if you promise not to tell anyone I will tell you all about it." "I won't tell, I promise. Tell me, please." "Okay, but first take that laundry down to Mom, so she doesn't come up." Dennis grabbed the pile of laundry and quickly ran it downstairs to Mom. He wanted to get back quick, he had to find out about that costume. Within a minute Dennis was back in Mikey's room, and saw that Mikey was now out of the crib, and in his costume. Mikey told Dennis all about his powers and his adventures and even demonstrated a little. Mikey watched as Dennis was in shock as Mikey flew around the room. "Wow, how do you do that?" "I don't know, it has something to do with this pacifier I found in the woods, but I don't know what. When I wear my pacifier I have superpowers." "Do you have to wear the costume too?" "No, the costume is just for show. No one would believe a superhero without one. It's a marketing thing, you know, like Superman, or Batman." "So who are you?" Dennis asked. "I am Captain Zero," Mikey said, almost wishing he had cool background music like other heroes had when they said their names. "Knock, knock, can I come in?" came my mother's voice from the door. "Just a second," Dennis said, as I put my PJs on over my costume, and climbed back into my crib. "What are you doing in there?" "Nothing, come on in," Dennis said, still a little nervous. Mommy opened the door and found Mikey asleep in bed, and Dennis sitting playing Nintendo. "I just need to change Mikey, then I'll leave you to your playing until dinner time." "No, wait, I just changed him," Dennis lied. Dennis hated to lie to her, but what choice did he have? He didn't want her to find out about Mikey's secret. You did? Mommy asked, almost in disbelief. Yeah, he was wet, and to be honest, I wanted to. I never changed a big kid diaper before. I guess I was a little curious. Dennis wasn't lying now. He was curious about diapers. He had just never said it before. Well, okay, I will call you when supper's ready. Okay. As soon as Mommy left the room, Mikey woke up and started taking off his clothes. I have to get my costume off before she comes back. It's too risky wearing it when she's home. Yeah, and I guess I should change you while your clothes are off, Dennis said with excitement in his voice. What? You can't change me, Mikey said, extremely nervous. I have to. If your mom comes back and finds out I lied, she'll spank me for lying to her. Well, I guess so. Let's get it over with then, Mike said as he laid down on the floor. Dennis came right over to him and started to remove his wet diaper. Wow, you're soaked. Where does your mom keep the new diapers? They're in the top drawer. Please hurry. This is very embarrassing. You know, I'd kinda like to try one on myself. Would you mind? Dennis asked, surprisingly confident. Yes, I would, replied our hero. But you can wear my training pants. Mom lets me wear them sometimes when it's hot out. They are nice and soft, and thick too. Wow, can I really? Dennis asked. Sure, they are one drawer down from the diapers. Dennis now had a nervous look on his face and he stuttered a little as he spoke. I'll try them on later. Dennis did want to wear them, but he was afraid that Mike's mommy would find out and he would get in trouble. Okay then, you can put one on before bed tonight.